My music has over 1.3 million streams across all platforms, and in this video, I'm gonna break down everything I've ever done to accumulate those numbers. Now, a million streams might sound like a lot to you, or it might sound like nothing to you, but either way, as a fellow independent musician myself, something that's always frustrated me is seeing artists with these big streaming numbers and having no idea what they actually did to get them. It's always felt like sort of a gate-kept black box mystery. But today, I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm gonna tell you every single thing I have ever tried to get streams. Some of them were terrible ideas, some of them worked incredibly well, and some of them sort of fell somewhere in the middle. Now, before we get started, I wanna be clear. This isn't a checklist of things you should do. There are some strategies that I think will work for you, but rather I want this to be sort of a video about transparency and showing all the different things that people do to get streams, and that there isn't one secret, and that other artists don't have this sort of magic solution that you don't know about. With that said, I think there are some tactics that are incredibly valuable, and I think you have a good time laughing at all of my mistakes. For context, I have been a full-time independent musician for over a decade. I have had $10,000 years, I have had $100,000 years, and the point of this channel is to create a linear framework to help fellow musicians avoid some of the mistakes that I made. But to be clear, I am not a music marketing guru. I am just an artist like you, and I am sharing my journey with you in the trenches making music. So with all that out of the way, let's get into it with tactic number one. I call this strategy artificial inflation. In 2019, I wiped all of my music off of the streaming platforms and started again with a brand new catalog of music. Starting from zero, our plan was super simple. We just looped that shit. I put out 3 songs, I had 8 or 9 friends, stream that playlist all day, all night, all the time. And after about a month, we'd gotten all the songs up to about 30,000 streams on Spotify. Now, this is not a good idea. I do not recommend it. In 2018, 2019, it was sort of a gray area in terms of Spotify was not cracking down on artificial streams, but now they definitely are. And I'm pretty sure if you tried a similar strategy in this day, your songs would just get flagged and probably taken down. But I want to share this as a part of the journey, one, for transparency, but also just to illustrate that a lot of times these numbers, they're just smoke and mirrors, guys. It was 10 of my friends just looping that stuff. Streaming numbers are ultimately vanity metrics, and they matter to the industry gatekeepers at large. But if you're ever finding yourself kind of in that comparisonitis, remember, I got about 100,000 streams, and it was 8 of my friends looping my music all the time. Okay, tactic number 2. I call it the YouTube strategy. After my initial run of music, the next release I put out was actually a cover video. We did a very stripped down acoustic version of Morgan Wallen's song Chasing You. We had a bit of a shoestring budget, but we had a really polished video we were able to put together in a gorgeous location, and the video did quite well on YouTube. As a result, that became a vehicle to drive streams to the song itself. Understanding that YouTube works a little bit differently than other social media platforms as it functions mostly as a search engine, putting out cover songs is a great way to get new eyeballs on your artistry and on your music. And as a result, having that song available on streaming funneled a lot of traffic towards it. So when you're looking at your own promotional strategy, I definitely would not discount using YouTube. Okay, tactic number 3 is user-generated playlists. So I'm gonna spoil this list. There's no editorial playlists as one of my tactics. I've never had a song get an editorial playlist, but I have had a lot of success with algorithmic playlists, which I'll talk about later, and user-generated playlists. So I think this is a really underrated strategy, and all it really takes is a little bit of legwork. So specifically for Spotify, I'm a country artist myself, so if you go to Spotify and you search country music or modern country music and go to the playlist tabs, you'll see a ton of user-generated playlists. All of those playlists have an author, they have a creator, and oftentimes you can either get a contact for that creator in the description of the playlist itself, or you can just kind of reverse engineer how to find them. So more often than not for myself, I was able to find them on Facebook or on Instagram because their user handle was the same as their name. Personally, I have a small playlist that I curate and people reach out to me all the time just to submit their songs. One thing to note here, some of those user-generated playlists do sort of run it as a business and they will charge you to get your song on the playlist. I would recommend just avoiding that altogether. There are tons of playlists out there created by real people that are looking for music. I probably reached out to like 20 or 30, user-generated playlist curators, and to this day, I still get streams off of playlists that took my song up to 8 years ago. Now, a lot of these playlists are smaller, usually under 10,000 followers or so, but they're real people, they're looking for music, and stacking a lot of those playlists together can result in a lot of streams. Takes a little bit of time and a little bit of research, but it's a really valuable strategy. Okay, tactic number 4, organic social media posts. This is working like gangbusters for me right now, and that's primarily tagging my songs on TikTok content. Now, before you throw your hands up and are worried about the fact that you're not a viral TikTok artist, Neither am I. I've had a few videos do okay. I've had one or two hit 50,000 views, one or two hit 100,000 views, but by no means am I a viral musician. And with that being said, to date, my music has gotten over 1 million views on videos on TikTok across 700 posts. So it's about 1,500 views a post. And because of a new functionality that actually allows you to tag your music on the posts you make on TikTok, you have a direct funnel from people who discover you on TikTok to stream your music. Now, of those 1 million views that my music has gotten on TikTok, I've been able to trace back about 60 to 70,000 streams on Spotify specifically. What's really great about this strategy is it's just about volume. It's just about showing up every day. Like I say, I've had a few videos get to 50,000, a few videos get to 100,000, but even the ones that don't, every person counts in this game. And with TikTok, there's no limit to how much you can post. So just get out there, start posting, tag your music in every post you make. I think you'll be really surprised by the results. Okay, now tactic number 5 is pay-to-play playlist campaigns. I actually forgot this and now I'm inserting it to the video after the fact, so if things look a little different, that's why. But anyways, pay-to-play playlist campaign, so to speak. I've kind of used two different approaches. One is a company called SubmitHub. SubmitHub is sort of a curation of all the different playlists that you can be submitting things to. So you sort of pay for a certain number of submissions and you can send your music to a bunch of different playlist curators. It's sort of a faster approach than the other method mentioned about going out and finding all of these people on your own. Now, I've certainly had success getting songs placed through this platform before, and I certainly have no affiliation with the platform, so I'm just giving my honest feedback. Lately, I've had some friends, and I've seen it myself. Some of the playlists that my songs have been added to have been flagged as like bot or AI traffic. So I've been gotten that notification from Spotify saying, hey, we're detecting like bot traffic. So it's obviously like a huge platform and that's not going to be everyone's experience, but it is something to keep in mind. And the second resource that I've been using is something called Indie Music Academy. Again, no affiliation, just letting you know my personal experience. Had a really wonderful relationship with them. I have had friends that said that they got placed on botted playlists. I personally haven't had that experience myself. But one thing to keep in mind is while they do guarantee you organic streams, you often get put on playlists that don't necessarily align with your genre. Like for example, I got put on sort of a Shrek movie playlist. So it had songs that, were similar vibes to mine, but it certainly wasn't country music playlist. So that's kind of something to consider too. But if you are looking for some organic streams, that did work well in the past. However, I've been seeing, different results as we go forward. So keep all that with a grain of salt. But again, this is all about being transparent. And that is something I tried to do in the past and it's worked to mixed degrees. Okay, tactic number 6, algorithmic playlists. Now, this isn't a tactic. This is just something that happens, and I wanted to include it here because I wanted to demystify how people are getting all of these streams. Because I can tell you, I've gotten about 200,000 streams on this cover of Chasing You by Morgan Wallen, like I talked about earlier in the video. Now, because of the YouTube traffic that was sort of driving towards Spotify, something has happened, I don't know what, behind the scenes that has sort of triggered the algorithm. And by way of that, over the last few years, that song is just wound up on a lot of radio playlists, more user-generated playlists of people just searching for cover songs. But because of that, it's created this sort of snowball effect of once songs kind of trigger that algorithmic sort of playlist, Spotify radio thing, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, even if you take out those 250,000 streams that came from algorithmic playlists, obviously I still have 1 million streams that have been generated by other tactics. But I wanted to point this out just to make it clear, sometimes people just get lucky. Sometimes things just happen. You might just get on an editorial playlist and you can't really tell anyone how to do it. And that might be the secret sauce that you're looking on Instagram and you're getting all jealous of these other artists, and the fact of it was they don't know how they did it. It just happened. But what I will say, in my experience, the more traffic you're driving to your Spotify organically, the better chance you have of sort of triggering the algorithm and then getting into those algorithmic playlists. Okay, tactic number 7 is capitalizing on my email list. So most of the success in my career has come through direct-to-consumer marketing strategies and digital sales funnels. And by way of that, I've been able to drive a ton of traffic towards my email list where I have a direct line of communication with my fans. In this modern era, there's so many ways that musicians can be reaching out to their fans. However, I do believe that the email list is the most important asset that any musician can create. It's the only way to really have a direct line of communication from the people who care about your music. Social media platforms come and go, algorithms change, but email is forever pending some sort of apocalypse. So having a robust email list that's filled with ravenous music fans has been an absolute game changer for me. As I release new music, I simply send out an email blast to all of my supporters and let them know, and that drives streams itself. And before I go any further, if you'd like to learn how to build a robust email list of your own and learn the strategies that I've used to generate tens of thousands of dollars directly from my fan base, I'd love to give you a free copy of my new book, Incremental Growth Theory. I wrote this book as a part of a music marketing course that I teach at Western University, and today I'd like to give you a copy for free. It kind of catalogs everything that I've done in my music career, grassroots, bare bones, digital marketing strategies that any artist can implement themselves to start generating revenue from their fan base and building a better relationships with their fans. So if you'd like your own copy, just click the link in the description below and you can pick one up there. Okay, now back to the list. Tactic number 8, paid advertising. Now, when I say paid advertising, it's probably not the way that you think about it when it comes to driving streams. I think the main strategy that everyone is using right now is running, paid advertising where they're driving traffic towards their link on Spotify or on Apple Music. Personally, I haven't found a ton of success with this. I know it's a really viable strategy. I know there's people that rock at it. I have not found a ton of success with it. But I have found using paid advertising to be successful in a different manner. And this is where some of these digital sales funnels and marketing strategies that are in my book really come into play. And the streaming that results from the paid advertising that I do is sort of a residual effect. So for example, when I look at my most successful ad that I use in all of my campaigns, whether or not I'm selling concert tickets or I'm selling CDs or vinyl, what have you, that ad is a full 3-minute performance video and it's got over 1.2 million views. Because that ad has gotten so much traffic, that song has become very iconic to my fan base and associated with my brand. Even people who aren't buying the CD or buying the concert ticket, for example, are still seeking out that song. I have a pinned comment in the comment on many of the ads, and it just directs people to the Spotify. Those ads are advertising other products, other sales, other promotions, and the fact that it's just generating streams is just kind of a win-win. At the end of the day, there's a million ways that you can get streams online, but I really wanted to make a video that was just transparent, that just pulled the curtain back and showed you exactly what I've done. I'm super proud of having 1 million streams. Like I say, to some people that's a drop in the bucket, to some people that's a dream come true. But the reality is there's no magic beans, there's no secret sauce. It's just trying things over and over again, iterating over and over again, making a fool of yourself over and over again. So hopefully this video demystified a little bit about what's going on in the world of streaming and the music industry right now, and hopefully it gave you a couple of good tactics that you can use today to help grow your own streaming numbers. Don't forget to grab a free copy of my new book in the link below, and I'll see you in the next video.